All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Ben Allen. Hope everybody's doing well today on this beautiful Tuesday morning. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, let's take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. And as always, we want to start our day off by taking massive action. And that action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, setting yourself body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trusting your education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So we're gonna get down to it. Fundamentals, take a look at the RBA and their meeting minutes. Then we will dive in and get an update on what's happened over the past couple of days. All right. If everybody can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat, please. Perfect. All right. Cool deal. So let's slide over and take a look at trading economics. All right. So Reserve Bank of Australia, uh, they kept their cash rate the same at their May meeting as widely expected. Maintained borrowing costs for the fourth month, acknowledging a return that returning inflation to target was unlikely to be smooth. While cost pressures continue to ease, its pace of moderation was slower than expected. Persistent services inflation. There are uncertainties over lags in the effect of monetary policy and how firm pricing decisions and wages will respond to slower growth. The board added it needed to be sure prices were moving toward 2 to 3% range, staying vigilant to upside risk. And again, noting that it did not rule anything in or out as it will rely upon data. Also in these meeting minutes, in that not ruling anything in or out, there was conversation about the potential need to increase rates if inflation continued to rise. So the rate hike conversation came back to the table for the Reserve Bank of Australia, right? So there's concern about things not being firm enough, right? So we'll continue to watch the data coming out of Australia to see what happens there and what the data looks like going forward. If it moderates or if things continue to potentially push up for Australia. We had Euro area current account surplus in the Euro area widened sharply to 44.5 billion from 27 billion a year earlier. Good surplus increased. So basically, buying back of the euro. So we're seeing that euro increase with those current accounts. Producer prices in Germany declined by 3.3% year on year in April, following a 2.9% drop in the previous month, compared to a market forecast of 3.2. It marked the 10th consecutive month of producer deflation, flagged by a decline in energy costs, influenced by natural gas and electricity. Yeah, so data on each individual sector there, but overall, producer prices are declining in Germany. Okay. So that is there. Then over to the calendar. All right, there are the meeting minutes there. Tons of FOMC members speaking. Um, the major conversation was essentially um rates staying higher for longer. That was the primary conversation from the majority of the central bank speakers. Um, when the economy was noted. So that is um that's really it from yesterday. Today, 8:30, we got Canadian CPI. So we'll watch this to see what happens in Canada, right? If there's an issue with inflation in Canada as well, if we see a tick up in these numbers. So that'll be interesting to watch. We got more FOMC members speaking today. Governor Bailey coming to also speak. Then tonight we got New Zealand cash rate. Um, Going to be interesting as we've seen some strength coming out of the New Zealand dollar as of late. So we want to watch that to see where the data falls. All right. Tomorrow we got CPI for the pound, um, and PPI for the pound. Um, uh, 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 then monetary policy report hearing. Um, Governor Bailey will basically be testifying regarding the monetary policy. So, depending on the words chosen during this testimony, that could get interesting tomorrow. We got crude oil inventories, FOMC meeting minutes, 2 o'clock tomorrow. Give us some insight on the conversation from the meeting. Also important. So, got a lot of data coming up middle of the week, right? Retail sales for the New Zealand dollar, and we got euro inflationary numbers, right? We'll see if things are slowing as the ECB is still planning to have its first cut in June. All right, so we'll take a look there and see what happens. G7 meetings, flash PMI for the dollar. Then on Friday, excuse me, we got retail sales for the pound, retail sales for Canada, core durable good orders for the United States, more members, FOMC members speaking, and then consumer sentiment. So busy second half of the week when it comes to the fundamental side of things. So we'll keep our ears to the ground and watch the data and see how things come out and see what they're talking about when it comes to the economy for the central bank speakers. All right. Um, that's really it from a fundamental perspective. Any questions fundamentally, or anything that you guys saw that you have questions about or want to bring to the table? Nope. All right. Cool deal. All right. Sweet. So over to the charts. Somebody had a question?
Yes, I don't want to interrupt you too much, but
No, you're all right, Tyrone. What's up?
oh yeah, man, what's good, man? You okay?
I'm good, man.
Good stuff, good stuff. Quick question. So, there's crude oil, gold, and there's natural gas. Natural gas that's run by Canada as well, is it, or is that Russia?
Um, so there's multiple. I have to look at the secondary primary source. There is a lot that
Hmm.
comes out of Russia. But with those what's the word I'm looking for? Um, one second. I'll tell you the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Um, mm, 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 maybe I won't find the word. So I was just reading an article about some of the stuff. Mm, mm, mm. what is it? I can't. Mm, frozen assets, right? And some of the basically some of the blocks the U.S. put on Russia and their exports. So a lot of companies aren't dealing directly with Russia, um, but a lot of that was coming from Russia when it comes to the natural gas side of it. I
Hmm.
don't like I said, I have to look up to see what the other sources are that
Right.
they've moved to because there was a big thing about um, putting these blocks on Russia with this Ukraine war, and that stalled a lot of the exports from Russia. So they're getting it from other countries, but I don't
Right.
remember what those countries are.
Okay.
Um,
No worries.
yeah, yeah, but there are other sources. The crude is primarily is well Russia and Canada, but the natural gas I have to look up.
Okay. Nice
So
one.
I'll find it out now and I'll drop it into the community for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing some digging as well. Thank you so much for that, man.
Cool deal,
Appreciate it.
no problem. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, yeah. I'll pull it back and get a larger picture done. That's a sub fib there. So, daily time frame on the DXY. This is probably what yours look like here. All right. Um, that's the larger fib on the DXY.
My sub fib comes 50%, I think. It doesn't come all the way down.
Oh, so you got one there. I got you. I don't know. I got that. Oh, that smaller waves from the lower time frames. That's what it is. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Thanks for that. But we're getting this pullback now on the dollar, some consolidation. So we're looking to see what happens, right? Things are pretty slow motion right now. We'll see how deep, right? Do we get back to this 103,568 level or not, right? So we'll have to watch the DXY to see, right? See how the data throughout the week, see how the conversations from the central bank speakers and those meeting minutes tomorrow how they fare, right? Do we get another push down to get to that support level? And then do we flip, right? So we'll watch and see what happens with the DXY. So that's on the daily time frame. We got a swing low to form there. So we have a low on the daily, but it's going to be a matter of the data and the conversations to see what happens here and to see if we get another push to the downside, right? So we'll watch and see. We'll watch and see there. So that's on the daily coming down to the 4. And this is why I had that other sub fib down that got taken out there. And so, yeah, boom. And that got taken out as well. So we'll run this back down to the downside. And there we are, right? So bouncing back and forth a bit. So we'll watch the DXY. So not a ton of happening there. Got a ton of consolidation, and we'll look to see what happens with the meeting minutes tomorrow. All right. Ba, 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 ba. Let's go. Let's go to those Canadian dollar pairs, the Aussie CAD. On the daily time frame, we hit a D extension, right? We hit a D extension, and we started to pull back a bit. So, gonna be watching this, right? The support level should be there. Gonna be watching this to see how things move. Um, with rate hikes being back on the table for the Australian dollar. If the Canadian CPI data comes in soft, right, we'll see this continue to rise. Okay. So we'll have to watch and see how things transpire when the new fib pops in. it'll look something like this. Boom, right? So one of two things from a daily time frame perspective, right? Do we get a retracement now, or do we get a push up and then a retracement? So that's what I'm watching here, is how price moves and what information we get to move price. Okay, so that's from a daily time frame perspective. We come down to the 4, and you see we're just shy of that 118, 127 zone on the 4, right? So if we do get another push to the upside, that'll give us that 80-20 scenario on the 4-hour, and then we can look to see if we get the retracement from there. Okay, so we'll watch that on the 4-hour, but we got a double top scenario here at weekly resistance, and then you see price pushing down. So we'll look to see for additional insight from the data, from Canadian data comes out later this morning. On the 1, however, right, we had this 80-20, and you see that we've gotten a break of the cloud. We got a bearish Kumo twist, right? And we got our TK crossovers. So, and the lagging span is below price. So we could potentially see a move down first, right? So come back to that daily time frame, right? Do we get a move down or do we push up? Right? We could be in for a move to the downside here, right? So I don't know if anybody's playing this 80-20 on the 1, but here's an opportunity. We'll see what the data says, but we could get a catalyst. Reese is in this one. Sweet. Great work, man. See if we get a catalyst. See if we get a catalyst to push this to the downside. All right. Drop some sevens in the chat for Reese being on top of it. Right. And so let's look to see how price moves here. Okay. So, but that's our 80-20, right? And if you use the cloud as confirmation, you got it. If you use trend lines as confirmation, you also got a trend line break there as well. Right. So here. Price is rejecting off that outer trend line now, but boom, right? There's your middle trend line breaking if you were aggressive on the 4, running trend line to the upside, boom, right? Trend line break, we're rejecting off the outer trend line now, okay? So let's watch to see how things go, right? But price is in the zone, pushing back to the upside right now, potentially retesting the cloud, and then we'll look for a move to the downside there. Okay, so let's there's our trade set up there. Boom. Okay. There we go. Okay. Got an 80-20 buy on the 15. All right. Back to the upside. Let's see. Boom. Great work, dude. All right. Bam. So look for a high price on the 15 and then potentially get back short if the data calls for it, right? Boom. Great work, man. Reese is on it on this Aussie CAD. Reese is up and at him early. Beautiful. Great work, man. Appreciate you. Right. So there's that opportunity there. It's already in play. So we'll look for price to continue pushing to the upside. Then we'll look for look and see if we get that reversal later on. All right. Questions on the Aussie CAD? No? All right. Let's see. Let's go to the Aussie Swiss. Boom. So this one is interesting, right? Because we are short on the Swissy. Okay, we've had this long bullish move to the upside, right? We broke that previous level, came back, retested, continue moving up. We got weekly resistance coming in at 61,666. On the daily, right, we're running long. Okay, but boom, right? Fibs running to the upside. Price is trying to put in a high. We'll see if we get a swing high to form over the close of business tomorrow. But we're in the 80-20 zone on the daily. So do we get a pullback at some point before we get a continuation to the upside? Okay. Coming down to the 4. Boom. Here we are on the 4. 80-20 on the 4 as well, right? Similar look to that daily. That D extension, though, is in line with that 61,666. So we want to watch this and see if we get some additional confirmation here, right? If you're playing off the 4, maybe you run your trend line to the upside and look for that trend line break. All right, because you're sitting right at your trend line right now. Okay, so maybe you wait for a trend line break and then look for your entry opportunity there, right? Just to add additional confirmation. When you come down to the 1, trying to push through the cloud, right? Sitting in the middle of the cloud right now, we got a TK cross, a Kumo twist ahead. We haven't broken through the cloud yet, right? We got all the other signs, but we haven't price has not broken through the cloud yet. So on this one, I'm waiting to see. I'm looking at this one from a 1-hour perspective, just for the additional confirmation, right? We got the 80-20 here on the 4 and on the daily. So I'm looking to see if I can get a cloud break on the 1, right? If I get a nice bearish cloud break on the 1, then I look for an entry opportunity to play this to the downside and look for this retracement to come and then look for low prices to get back long. So that's my look on this. But 80-20 on the 4 and on the daily, looking for a pullback, and then we'll look for continuations to the upside. Okay. Questions on the Aussie CAD, Aussie Swiss. No? All right. Cool. So this is our setup here. All right. And all these we covered this weekend, but just going back over them as price is trying to move. And we'll see how deep this retracement goes. That's going to be one of the things with this pair is, do we just come back to test this 59,296, or do we press all the way down to that 382? So that part I'm going to watch closely in the management of the trade. But just something to note is that key level there. So, but that's the Aussie Swiss. Okay, over to the Aussie Yen. No, not the Aussie Yen. Aussie NZD, right? Benny posted this in the community the other day looking for a buying opportunity, right? Right here on the 4. Boom. Okay, so we got our 618 retracement. Beautiful move to the downside. Now, right, we got to push up, pull back, and now we look for a continuation on that move to the upside, right? Creating those ABCD waves off the low, right? So there's the pullback. You had your trend line break. Boom. Right? Trend line break, pullback. Looking for price to continue pushing north. Okay, so there's the setup there, starting to get some legs, right? So look for a break back above 109,486, right? A break, retest, and then a continuation there. Okay, so there's the setup on the Aussie New Zealand. If you didn't see it in the community, there you go, right? Still opportunity to get in this off that 618 retracement. We're expecting price to move. Flip these. Bring this down. We're expecting price to run to that D extension. right? Now we do have that New Zealand data coming out tomorrow night, tonight, 10 o'clock. So this is going to be one that could also be interesting. Great work, Kay. Kay's in this one to the upside. Kay's done a great job being a newer member of just taking that massive action, right? Starting to take the trades to implement what's being learned through the course. So great job, Kay. Great job. But looking for this to run to the upside here, right? Make it to the D extension of 1.11171. All right, so got a ways to go there, but we'll watch that New Zealand data to see how it comes out, right? That could give us some back and forth later on this evening, right? So if you see this pair start to bounce around a little bit, right, that's why, and that's the value of, right, placing the stop outside the A, giving price room to breathe, because we could, right, we could see price push deeper. Okay, so that's not out of line. Okay, so having that stop outside the A gives price room to breathe in the event that we get another push to the downside, and then price settles and reverses. Right, so that's something just to keep in the back of your mind as you're managing your trade and you're watching price move, understanding that it can push deeper. Okay, but we'll continue to watch that, and I may still be up at 10 o'clock to see what the data says, and then we'll get an update on the press conference tomorrow. All right. Cool. So that's where we are. Yeah, maybe. It'll be interesting. But any questions on this Aussie New Zealand? No. All right. Cool deal. Cool deal. Let me see something real quick. All right. Um, so that's the Aussie New Zealand. No questions. Cool. Next up, the CAD yen. So not a ton has let's go to the CAD Swiss first. Um, we'll talk about the CAD Swiss and then we'll look at the CAD yen. We're still moving to the upside, right? Off this 4-hour move, boom, we're making our way long, right? Pullbacks and continuation. So we could see a pullback to come back and retest this previous resistance level, right? This is on the 4-hour time frame. Could see a pullback, retest previous resistance, and then see that continuation to the upside there, right? We want to get a break above that 67,198 level. So something for us to pay attention to there. On the one, right, we got a fresh AB boundary. We had this beautiful 80-20 to a deep retracement, and we pushed up, hit the D extension. So now we're back at it again, right? We're coming back, retesting the cloud. So this is where we could see that retracement come. Okay. So we'll watch and see how the Canadian data fares. If it is in line or above expectation, right, we might just see this thing rise, which would be cool, right? If you're sitting in this long, right, that'll be beautiful. If not, right, we're looking for a low price to then continue to the upside. So we'll continue to monitor and see how it moves, but we'll watch this one after the data to see where it pushes price. Okay, but we could be in for a retracement first before we get a continuation. So just be aware of that in the back of your mind. Okay, so that's just a quick look at the CAD Swiss. CAD yen, not a ton is happening in Japan, right? Not a ton of talk is coming out. Price is still pressing to the upside against all of these yens. Okay. On the daily, we got a 382. On the 4, we're still sitting in this 118, 127 zone. All right. So if that data comes out strong for the Canadian dollar, we'll see it's just continue to push to the upside, right? And potentially get to that D extension. So I'm watching this closely to see what that response is. But Bank of Japan has been pretty quiet. As of late, they did not decrease their bond purchases at the end of last week, but the expectation is that they will continue to slowly roll those bond purchases down in preparation for potentially additional cuts. So there are some investors and some former BOJ members saying that there's potential for the Bank of Japan to increase its rates in June. So that is something that is being talked about. So that I have my eyes on that. Just trying to like get a grasp of kind of what it means. And then there's others saying no, right? There's others saying no, they're going to move slowly, they're going to take their time. However, with the price pressure, that could force the BOJ to make a decision sooner rather than later, right? Especially with how the price pressures impact the inflation story. Okay. And we should start to see the impact of those wage increases in the next couple months. So as we see the impact of those wage increases start to trickle in, we could then see the inflation story start to shift. So if we see some of that through the month of May and June, right, July could be an opportunity for them to make an increase. Now, the increases won't be large, right? They'll be small, and but they'll slowly trickle in, right? Maybe two this year, and then we'll see what happens next year. So we'll continue to watch that. So with this CAD yen, we could see it, at least in the short term, another push to the upside. And maybe we see, I gotta place this daily resistance here. Maybe we see a double top scenario. Okay. Maybe we see price push back to the high, maybe touch that D extension, right? And give us a double top. And then we could see a move back down. Right. So I'm sitting tight, just waiting here, just to wait and see what actually happens and to see how deep this move actually goes. Right. Here's on the one, I got a fib running off the high, right? And looking to see if we get this type of action. Okay. So sitting tight there, still at 80-20 on the 4, but like I said, it's iffy because there's no movement out of Japan. So it's all really down to the Canadian dollar and how things move there. All right. So that's the CAD yen. Any questions here? No? All right. Cool. What else we got? Euro CAD. Cool. So we've pressed up and we've broken this daily resistance level. Right? We broke, we retested, and now we're trying to continue to press long. So this one's intriguing to me, right? Because I'm looking to see. Now my thought is, because originally I was looking to see if we get price to reject off this level, continue moving to the downside, because we haven't gotten to 382 yet, right? However, it's looking like this inverted crown pattern is gonna play out, right? So looking for the potential for price to rise. So that data with the Canadian dollar is going to be interesting, right? Give us either a catalyst or not. So watching to see how that develops. When you come down to the 4, right, you see that break and that retest, Now, do we push into the 118, 127 zone and do we get a retracement out of there? So I'm watching to see if we get an 80-20 to develop here, right? And then do we get some action like that? Okay, so I'm sitting patiently here because you have a similar deal on the one, right? Don't have a 382, almost a double bottom there. So I want to see if we push into the 118, 127 zone here. Okay, so I'm sitting patiently watching these CAD crosses to see what happens after the data comes out. All right, so if we do get that, and then we see price just settle in and start to consolidate, right? Then we'll know, all right, we could be in for that type of action there. Okay, if it just accelerates and just continues to rise, then we just sit tight. Yeah. All right. Crazy, right, Reese? It's wild how it all comes together, right? That impulsive move to the downside is what Reese is talking about, right? Impulsive move to the downside. Oops, we'll take that off. Boom. There we go. Oh, shoot. There we go, right? Back into this zone here. Boom. Right? Push up and then see if we get moved back down to the downside, right? All falls within that Fibonacci sequence. And, right, and that's your deep retracement here. Right? 618, 786, 86 level, not taking out the A. Boom. Right. So you get confirmation multiple ways within the sequence. Right. So we'll continue to watch this and see how things develop. Right. But just keep your eyes there. If we get that movement and price to settle in, right, I'll get something posted in the community regarding that setup. All right. Questions on the Euro CAD?
Nope.
All right, cool. On to the Euro Swissy. This has been a great move so far, right? Down on the 4. Well, we had a couple scenarios. Wait, let's go back to the daily, right? We had that crazy move down on the daily, right? And then we just took off to the upside. So we broke above 98,393, right? So could we get a retest in continuation? Right? That's what we're looking for, right? We get a pullback, potentially give us an opportunity to add to this trade on its way to the upside. On its way to, actually, it's only 98,990 is the matching D extension, right? But we could get to that 99,936 level. Coming down to the 4, boom, right? 618 retracement, and you see the takeoff, right? So in this strong bullish move to the upside, look for the pullback and retest, right? Retest of the cloud, retest of that previous resistance level, see if it holds as support, and then gives us that move. Okay. So what that looks like on the 1 is an 80-20, right? Consolidating here, see if we get to move back down. Now, this is another one where we may not get to the 382, right? We'll have to watch that and manage the trade accordingly, right? Maybe when we get here, right, that's 44 pips to 382 is 56. Maybe when we get here, we move that stop into profit or take some close a portion of the trade, right? Just because that's a previous key level that we're retesting. Okay. So just manage your trade accordingly as price moves to the downside here if we get this retracement. Okay. But we got an 80-20 here on the 1 hour, looking for a low price to get long, or if you don't want to trade the 80-20, you just want to wait on a low price, right? Or break and retest, then sit tight, wait for price to push to the downside. Okay. Boom. There you go. All right. If for whatever reason we get a move down, boom, that's your TP2. Okay. So that's what I'm watching on the Euro Swissy, looking for a low price to get back long. Right. Been a great move to the upside so far, though. Okay. Questions on the Euro Swiss? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Let's see what we got. Euro pound. Our best friend. So we're pushing back down, right? Pushing back down. We got daily support 85 to 84. Haven't quite gotten there yet. This is an old level that I am going to take out. Right? On the 4, it's just bouncing back and forth, but on the 1 hour, right? We didn't get to that 382. We're sitting in the 118 and 127 zone here on the 1. Okay. So look for a move. Bingo. Okay. Use your additional confirmation, trend line break, or cloud break. Boom. Okay. So let's watch that 80-20 here. Looking for a move back to the upside. Okay. I don't trade this one often anymore. I know, Joy. I know. Because it's gonna take its time. It's gonna Euro GBP and bounce around and do its thing. But it still moves, right? So if the Euro GBP is your cup of tea, there you go. Right? It's a beautiful setup. And so we'll look for a price to move to the upside, at least get into that 382, and then we'll see what happens from there. We'll see what happens in the UK. We'll see what happens with the PMI and CPI data, and see what it gives us, right? But there's opportunity there. Okay. Questions on the Euro GBP? No. All right. Cool deal. Cool deal. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. How are you? How's the family?
Man, I'm tired. But
I bet.
got back late last night, man. But he's doing good, man. My little niece is doing good. She is here. So everybody is excited.
The Allen family has a new addition.
Yeah, yeah. So my brother and his wife, they had the first child. So yep.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Glad they're
it was
doing
good to
well.
see. Yeah, doing very well. So everybody's good, man. I appreciate you holding it down.
Hey, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Probably have it. Yeah, drop some chats, drop some sevens in the chat for Benny's brother and his wife, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep,
Beautiful thing.
appreciate it.
Um, Probably, I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at anything, but anything top of mind for you?
Oh man, just I heard what Bostic had to say.
What did he say? I missed
from the
that.
Fed, just keeping it, just holding those rates steady. He's still calling for the possibility of just one rate cut. You know,
Ah, okay.
out there for the United States, but just that's it. You know, so it moved. The dollar moved a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
on the heels of that. You know, because he's a voting member. You know, what he says matters. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, but that's pretty much what he's been saying.
it is. It is. He's been
So
consistent in that.
yes, he has. Yes, he has. So just to hear him, you know, pretty much double down on that, lets me know that hey, that maybe that one cut, but I don't see any more than that. But of course, the market is still calling for two, maybe three.
Yeah, yeah. We may not even get the one.
All right.
We may not even get the one.
So yeah, no, man, that's it. I mean, gold continue to hit those record highs, man. I mean, it was a great call coming out of last year saying that hey, that gold is going to take off, and it's doing just that.
It is, man. It is, and we talked about this last year too. But the rate that central banks are buying gold is also going into that, right?
Yep,
So it's been
yep,
the move.
yeah. It has indeed been a move. I wish I would have position traded it, but
Yeah,
I didn't.
me neither.
So you know, that's it, man. Those are the two main things. I mean, of course, we've got a lot of the unrest and things, what happened in Iran and stuff like that. But other than that's it, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Appreciate you, man.
Mhm. Yeah, no doubt.
Appreciate you. So that's where we are, good people. That's where we are. So we'll watch that 80-20 on the Euro GBP, see if we get that move to the upside. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. It's pound Aussie. Let me take a look. Yeah. So daily time frame. This is where we sit, right? Haven't gotten to a 382. We came back and we settled in here, right? So we got a new level of daily support here. 1 second, everybody. My bad, everybody. All right, so price settled in, and we're starting to get this push to the upside, right? We do have a stochastic overbought right now, so we could see price come back down. We could stay in that consolidation, but looking at the potential, I know we got the more of a hawkish sentiment coming out of the RBA, but we could potentially be in for a price to move back to the upside here. Okay, so I'm watching this closely to see if we get this bounce. We come down to the 4, right? And we got a 50% retracement. We didn't push down to the D extension as we thought we might, but this previous support level that we're looking for a break above, we got that, right? And now we're pulling back to potentially retest that. So I'm watching this closely on this pullback to see if this resistance level holds, right? Because we could be in for this move to the upside and this crown pattern on the daily time frame to start to form. Okay, so watching, I got my eyes here. Okay, we come down to the 1, and you see we talked about this last week in this consolidation to see if we get a nice firm break of the cloud and we got it, right? Strong push here. Now we're getting this pullback. Okay. I didn't run a fib on this, but yeah, that's an 80-20 there, right? Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. So we're getting this retracement here. So we could even, right, maybe break back below that, push back into this consolidation, retest the cloud, give us a 50, 61.8 retracement, but looking for a pullback and then the opportunity for a continuation here. All right. Um, 1 hour and a 4 hour on the stochastic and the sell position. Yep. So this retracement makes sense, right? So we'll look for this action here, and then another push to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for here, right? And if we settle in, right, 50, 61.8, or maybe even just sit at that 93.76, right, I'll be looking for buying opportunities to take this to the upside. Okay. So that's where we are. This is an interesting one to watch. As it's bounced back and forth. We'll see what happens with the Bank of England, as they've been going back and forth on when to cut rates. So we'll see what happens there. But that's the action that I'm looking for, right? A low price to get long. Okay, so we'll watch that there. 91.37. Yep, I follow you on that, Joy. 173. Yep, right in that area, right around the 382. Yeah, I follow you. I follow you. Yep, I'm watching similar areas there. Okay. So questions on the pound also. No? All right. Cool. Pound CAD. Canadian data 830, right? We pushed up, broke this previous weekly level, ran into a monthly level. Boom. See, we're starting to get a reaction there. We come down to the 4. We got an 80-20 scenario there. Okay. So data at 830, do we get the catalyst to pull this back? Potentially. So watching this one closely. Excuse me. Watching this closely, right? 80-20 there on the 4. Actually, I want to see where the stochastic is here. Yep. So on the daily time frame, right? Our stochastic is overbought. Right? Daily stochastic is overbought. So coming down to the 1, we also got an 80-20 scenario here, right? In line with that monthly resistance level. So we'll drop the cloud on here. See if we get some alignment. All right, boom. So there we are, 80-20 on the 4 and on the 1, right? Daily stochastic in the sell zone. Okay, so we'll see if the data supports and gives us a catalyst for a move back down to the downside here. Okay. Questions on the pound CAD? No.
No questions.
All right. All right, cool. And then we'll wrap things up with this dollar yen. And it's still just hovering sideways. Right, this is our 4-hour look. There's that 118, 127 zone. Not a ton happening, right? But we'll see as things develop. You see our sub fib here. We got a nice retracement and we're pushing to the upside, hovering through the cloud at this point, right? Just moving sideways. So we'll see what happens as the week progresses, as meeting minutes come out tomorrow. we'll see where it pushes the dollar and where it pushes this dollar yen. See if we get another push to the upside and see if that then gives us an opportunity. Maybe something happens from a yen perspective, right? And then maybe not. So we'll see what happens there. We might even get to the D extension here on the 4 and then get a reset. All right. So not a ton happening, just moving sideways there. Questions on anything that we covered this morning?
Nope.
Nope. All right, good people. Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
Hey, not a whole lot at all, man. Not a whole lot at all. Just enjoy your day. Keep your eyes on the charts. Be patient. Be patient. And I was just doing this past weekend. One of my friends called me, man, and like been trading for a while. Blew an account. Guy grew up with that. That's trading, man. So just always a reminder. It was pretty sad to hear. But just always a reminder. Just continue to use proper risk management. We really don't know which trade is going to be the trade, right? We don't need with the type of setups that we trade. We don't we don't need to hit home runs, and that's what I was trying to explain to him. But it does require you to be patient. So if patience isn't something that you've naturally been really good at, or historically been good at, you definitely want to work on it, because the game requires you to have patience. So that's it, man. That's just a stark reminder, when I was talking to my buddy about it. So that's it.
The game requires you to have patience.
Yep.
The game of trading and the game of life. My man, I appreciate you, bro. Good people. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. You guys have requires. Yes, requires. You guys have a phenomenal Tuesday. We'll see you in the morning. We'll see you in the community. Accountability group tonight, 6 p.m. Be able to pop in, tap into the conversation. They're doing a phenomenal job. The support of the team has been awesome. So tap into the accountability group, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, inside the community. You guys have a phenomenal day. Peace.